It's been quite some time since I was last in a Kia Sportage. My parents owned one when I was a teenager, but things have really changed since then.
For starters, these now cost well over $40,000 in top spec guise, and they also have Apple CarPlay, something which didn't even exist back in 2011. Now in its 4th generation, Kia is expected to debut an updated 5th gen Sportage in 2021. In its current form, the Sportage usually ranks as one of the top 5 best-selling medium SUVs in the country, but it isn't quite as popular as its Toyota or Mazda stablemates.
My parents loved their 2011 Sportage, so I have high hopes that this newer version will be even better. Luckily, we have this GT-Line variant as a long-term loan in the Car Advice Garage, so I've got a few months to get acquainted. Let's get cracking.
The Sportage we have here is the top spec GT-Line, priced from $45,290 before on-road costs. Kia currently has a national drive-away offer of $47,832 with metallic paint, which may sound like a lot.
But then you'll have to consider that this thing is pretty well kitted out. For starters, it comes finished in the $520 paint option of cherry black, which I think looks pretty sharp. And on top of that, it gets great things like a standard sunroof, leather-appointed seats with both heating and cooling, a full-size spare alloy wheel, and then cool extra technology things like active cruise control and wireless phone charging. Sportage buyers also have plenty of powertrain choices, from diesel to petrol, front-wheel drive to all-wheel drive, and manual to automatic. The GT-Line grade is offered in both diesel and petrol. We're testing the petrol version, which features a 2.4 litre 4-cylinder petrol engine and a 6-speed automatic transmission. It's only available in all-wheel drive. The Kia Sportage is classed as a medium SUV, but it's actually one of the smaller ones available. This power tailgate opens up on a boot that's 466 litres, which is a little smaller than some of its key competitors, bar maybe the Mazda CX-5. On top of that, it's actually under 4.5 metres long and less than 2 metres wide, which makes it ideal for people living in the inner city. The Sportage's main competitors are the Hyundai Tucson, the Honda CR-V, the Mazda CX-5, the Nissan X-Trail, the Mitsubishi Outlander, or the Toyota RAV4. For a top-spec all-wheel drive variant, the cheapest of those is the Outlander at $43,990 before on-road costs, and the most expensive is the CX-5 at $50,830 before on-road costs. That makes the Sportage look pretty affordable. Straight off the bat, here are some things I really like about the Kia Sportage GT-Line. For starters, the level of equipment on offer and the way it's all packaged together makes it feel both premium and really practical. The seats are comfortable, feels like there's really good width in the cabin, plus it's nice and bright thanks to the sunroof. And finally, of course, there's Kia's 7-year unlimited kilometre warranty, plus it's affordable scheduled servicing, which is just under $3,000 for 7 years of coverage, which I reckon is pretty great. The back seat is equipped with the essentials, including ISOFIX points for 2 child seats, and it folds 60/40 to increase the boot space to 1,455 litres. Leg, head and toe room for adults is excellent in the back, and you can recline the seats for even more relaxation factor. Behind the wheel, you might describe the Kia Sportage as boring, but in a good way. The ride is moderate and balanced. It's a little bit on the firmer side, but it actually does maintain its composure really well once you go over those bigger bumps. The Sportage offers 135 kilowatts of power and 237 newton meters of torque, which is quite a moderate kind of number in terms of outputs. However, I've never felt wanting for power. Mind you, I'm not exactly a race car driver, but for most of my daily driving and for the occasional freeway sprint and longer haul drives, I've found that there's more than enough there, and the acceleration response is immediate and smooth, which is really, to me, what matters. To customize your driving experience, you've actually got the choice of 3 drive modes. The first one is Sport, which obviously ups the acceleration response and makes things a little bit more punchy. And then you can chuck in these paddle shifters behind the wheel, which come on the GT-Line for that manual experience. Then you've also got Eco mode, which is obviously great for fuel economy. And finally, you've got Normal mode, which is just great for comfort and around town driving. And I guess that's what most Sportage drivers are spending the majority of their time in. The all-wheel drive system leaves me feeling really confident behind the wheel. It's a really nice thing to have when you're driving on wet roads, when there's tram tracks involved, where in other cars I might experience some tyre slippage or some unwieldiness. This Sportage feels really firmly planted. I feel really secure and just confident tackling most manoeuvres. Rearward visibility though is a little bit limited because the rear windshield does slope in somewhat, and I do feel as though that although the car is about 1.65 meters tall, the ride height feels actually quite low to the ground, so I bump my seat height up a little bit more. Another pet peeve is that the rear windshield, the way it's positioned, actually cuts off the heads of certain drivers behind you, especially if they're in a big car like a Toyota Hilux, which I tend to hate because I like to see drivers' expressions to see if they're paying attention and to see what they're going to do next. So that's a little bit of a gripe for me. A few of the Sportage's competitors do offer the option or the inclusion standard of a heads-up display on this kind of grade. And while I do miss one on the Sportage, I will admit that this small digital display in between the instruments cluster is really well placed, and there's a big digital speedo on there as well, so I don't feel like I'm missing out on too much. I spoke earlier about never feeling like I was lacking for power or torque. However, if you are someone who thinks you might be doing some towing, the Sportage can only tow 750 kilograms unbraked or up to 1500 kilograms braked. On top of that, although this is an all-wheel drive car with a differential lock, if you're a serious off-roader, you might want to consider the fact the ground clearance is only 172 millimeters, and there are certainly other SUVs out there that have better off-road credentials. So I spoke earlier about some of the things I really like about the Sportage GT-Line. Here are some of the things I don't like quite as much. The rearward visibility is on the limited side thanks to that sloping rear windshield. I really feel like I have to raise the seat height quite a bit to make the most of what's on offer. On top of that, the fuel economy for urban driving is a little bit high for my liking. I've been averaging around 11.9 litres per 100 kilometres. Kia does quote 11.8 litres per 100 kilometres, so that's not too far off, but I have seen it creep as high as 13.3 litres per 100 kilometres. Something to keep in mind if you're regularly doing the school run. On top of that, it would be nice to have the option of a heads-up display, although that's not crucial. And finally, hot tip, the cherry black paint option might look schmick, but it's incredibly hard to keep clean. Over the course of this loan, I'll explore a few key questions. How practical the interior is and how suitable it is for families, with a focus on safety technology and cargo space. How it works as a city car with its size, driver assistance technology including the self-park function and infotainment system. And finally, how it handles on a Christmas road trip, covering everything from fuel economy to cruise control, comfort and off-road credentials. I'm excited, you should be excited, and it's kind of hard to tell from its expression, but I'm pretty sure this Sportage is excited too. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. To see more videos like this, subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so you're notified every time a new video goes live. And for the full written review, head to caradvice.com.au.